so nice to be able to drive out of the city and drive up the Saddle Road where it's all native forest. The reason why I got started in bird photography in Hawaii is that when I first moved here, I went to a slideshow about the native forest birds. And the pictures that they showed were mostly birds in the hand. In other words, they had been caught in mist nets, and then they photographed them being held in the hand. It was probably a rainy day because their feathers were all disheveled and stuck together and whatnot. And it was about that point I thought, well, these are beautiful birds. And I mean, if we're going to try to protect these birds, we need to show that Hawaii has these beautiful birds. The refuge is about a 2-hour drive from Hilo, half of which is over a very bumpy 4-wheel drive road. So it makes it sort of challenging to get here. What was once forested, and then the forest is gone, over a few hundred years. Now that it's become pasture, gorse has moved in, and gorse is an invasive plant from Western Europe. If we'd been driving through this area 25 years ago, it would have been just open pasture with very little gorse. And it now covers thousands of acres of pasture up on there, and it's something that you have to drive through. Who knows how many seeds we pick up in our tires and potentially bring onto the refuge. Hakalau Forest was the first national wildlife refuge to encompass rainforest. It was the first national wildlife refuge to be set aside for endangered species. It encompasses 33,000 acres here and another 5,000 acres on the Kona side of the Big Island. It was set aside to protect endangered forest birds and their habitat. 200 years ago, this would have been a koa forest with an understory of native plants, ferns on the ground, and a whole complement of native forest birds. Cattle were introduced about 150 years ago and reduced this area to just open pasture. If you were standing here 20 years ago, you would have seen just open pasture with a few scattered trees. So what's interesting about this spot is that this is an area where nothing has been planted. This is all natural regeneration. Basically, the cattle were removed from this side of the fence about 10 years ago, and what we see is some natural regeneration, like these ohia growing up on logs. There's leaf litter that's being produced. Ferns are beginning to come in. It's a slow process with the forest coming back. But if we look at the other side of the fence, which has about 25 years of natural regeneration, we'll see that the shrubbery, the most of the understory, is larger. There's more ferns, the grasses, there's less grass, and mainly the reason for the regeneration in here are the birds. Birds like oma'o, which is the native thrush, lands in these trees. Oma'o are berry feeders, and they feed on the berries. Most of these plants that you see in the understory are berry plants. I love all the birds. I don't even think there's one bird that I like over another. But every time I see some of these rare birds that are down to just a few hundred left, and plus the ones that I've seen that are now extinct, seeing those rare birds, just makes me want to do more for them. I want my grandkids and my great-grandkids and my great-great-grandkids to see these birds and I think that I'm trying to do a little bit to help that happen. Creeper, Hawaii creeper, right here, and right there. You hear that little? Akepa, Hawaii akepa, that high-pitched dee 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 dee. That's the endangered one. The Hawaiian honeycreepers, when you really think about the Hawaiian honeycreepers, we got 60 or so species with amazing array of color and bill form, and and just their specialization alone is mind-boggling. This is a great example of coevolution where the plant itself is bird pollinated, and you can see how the shape of the flower is exactly the same shape as the bird. And the bird sticks its bill into the flower, it gets pollen right on the head. And then when it moves to the next flower, it deposits pollen, so it's pollinating this flower. I've been doing it for quite a while, and the camera equipment's not getting any lighter, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to do this. But as long as I can, walk on my two legs and carry my equipment, I'm going to be in the forest photographing.